Welcome in, belly up, have a seat, and grab a drink as we talk some Wingman fantasy football. Welcome into another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Furley, and as always, I'd like to thank all of you, or any of you who may be watching or listening to today's show. This is episode number 48, and we are at the bar with Mr. Bernie.
I'm Cuban B. Yes, Cuban B.
But before we get any further along, let's make sure that everybody is in the room. Wingman Assemble! All right, let's get right into this week's news and notes. All right, we have two games once again on Monday night. We're going to start out with the Philadelphia Eagles are traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers in that 7:15 time slot, followed by the LA Rams that are traveling over to Cincinnati to play the Bengals in the 8:15 time slot. As for earlier tonight, the Thursday night game, we had the New York Giants traveling over to play the San Francisco 49ers, and we had just a few players in our managers' lineups tonight. We start with Red Sox Nation, who had kicker Jake Moody versus Mac Daddy 2's Deebo Samuel. Lion Eyes had San Francisco defense in his lineup, and Team B had quarterback Daniel Jones in his lineup, and Amazing Spidey went with Christian McCaffrey in his lineup. As for some other player news, here are some notable league transactions. Nick Chubb has been placed on the IR, ending his 2023 season. Deontay Johnson was also placed on the IR just before last Monday night's game, which means he has 3 more games to go before he'll be eligible to return. We had Cam Akers was traded to the Rams, traded from the Rams to the Vikings for a late round pick swap in 2026, and Kareem Hunt signed back with the Browns in the wake of the Nick Chubb injury. Saquon Barkley was inactive for the Thursday night game, and Brandon Ayuk can't get on the field was also inactive.
Hadouken!
Reggie pulled him out of his lineup just in time to avoid that goose. All right, now for other players' practice reports. We had Devontae Adams return to practice in full following his concussion from the last game, and it looks like he should be ready to go for this week. Tyreek Hill was added to the injury report with an ankle injury, and he was limited in practice. Jacoby Myers also returned to a full practice from his concussion, and it looks like he has a great chance to play this week, while Austin Eckler still has not practiced at all this week with his ankle injury, and it looks like he may miss another game. DeAndre Hopkins did return to practice on Wednesday, but he did miss Thursday. My guess is that this is the Titans' veteran day of rest. Joe Burrow, who aggravated his calf injury, may not play on Monday night. So Red Sox Nation is going to have to play his backup on Sunday or have some sort of backup plan for Monday night. Anthony Richardson is in the concussion protocol and may miss week 3, while Amon-Ra St. Brown is dealing with a toe injury, but he did return to practice and it looks like he may be able to play. Packers, Aaron Jones and Christian Watson, who are both dealing with hamstring injuries. However, Aaron Jones did make it back to the practice field today, while Christian Watson has still not made it back to the field. Number 1 overall pick, Carolina Panthers quarterback Bryce Young is going to miss week 3 as he is dealing with an ankle injury. This means that the Red Rocket Andy Dalton will make a start for yet another franchise. Miles Sanders for the Panthers is dealing with a pectoral injury and has been limited in practice, while Josh Reynolds popped up on the injury report with a groin injury. Isaiah Pacheco is dealing with a hamstring injury and is considered day-to-day, and Amari Cooper is dealing with both a groin and shoulder issue. He did play through it this past Monday, and it looks like he may try and give it a go this week, but keep an eye as those injury reports keep coming in throughout the week. Jalen Waddle is in the concussion protocol, and his week 3 status is uncertain. We also have DK Metcalf is dealing with rib injuries. He was able to come back into the game during week 2, so we'll see if he can power through for week 3. David Montgomery has not been practicing this week and will most likely miss week 3. Ravens running back Justice Hill is now dealing with a turf toe injury, and he will be a game-time decision. While Brandon Cooks' Dallas wide receiver did return to practice from his MCL sprain, getting him closer to playing, but we'll see if he has to miss one more week. All right, let's find out who's playing who in this week's matchups.
I want you! I want the stallion!
Down! Put!
This week's matchup.
All right, we've got a new graphic there. I hope you guys liked it. So this week we have the 0-2 Amazing Spidey is playing against 0-2 Knicks Waddle Away. One of these teams is going to get their first victory of the season, while the other one is going to fall deeper into the depths of despair with an 0-3 record. On to our next game. We have Alex's They Took Our Jobs at 1-1 playing against Bernie's Team B, who is also at 1-1. Next, we have a cat fight as Katie's King George at 2-0 is up against Reggie's Lion Eyes, who starts the season off at 0-2. And our next game, we have Cubert's Rage at 2-0 playing Ken's Tampa Brady, who starts off at 1-1. And our last game is head-to-head matchup of our division leaders and a rematch of last year's Fantasy Jeopardy competition. We have the 2-0 Red Sox Nation is playing up against 1-1 Corey's Mac Daddy 2s. Now let's check in on the waiver wire. We had 8 waiver claims this week, but only 2 NFL players received multiple bids. And Jerome Ford was the belle of the ball, receiving bids from 4 teams. Jerome Ford went to Mac Daddy 2s for a $51 bid, while Cubert's Rage put in a $41 bid. Lion Eyes came up short with a $17 bid, and King George put a $15 bid on Jerome Ford. On to our next highest bid player, Tony Jones Jr. went to Tampa Brady for $13, and no one else put a bid on that player. So Tampa Brady just wasted his money on a player who's only going to play a half a week. Also, we have Josh Reynolds went to They Took Our Jobs for $7, outbidding Amazing Spidey's Keep Him Honest bid of $1. Next, we have kicker Jake Elliott, who went to They Took Our Jobs for $6. Let me repeat that. A kicker went to They Took Our Jobs for $6, and no one else bid on this player. I don't know what we're doing with our money here, but kickers is not a good investment. All right, we have Justice Hill went to Cubert Rage for $6, and Tutu Atwell went to King George for $5. We also have Kareem Hunt went to Waddle Away for $2, and Kendra Miller went to Amazing Spidey for $0. And with this move, Amazing Spidey spite dropped Kyle Stinky Pitts.
It's time to go!
All right. With that being said, it is time to bring in our guest to the bar.
First down, the game's over. Go for it.
This measurement could determine the Giants'
It is
season.
time for 4th and Long.
With Bernie.
Welcome into the show. We have Mr. Bernie joining us at the bar. How are you doing tonight, Bernie?
I am doing all right. I could be doing better. I could have sat Daniel Jones, but we are here.
Well, we're at the bar. We're going to drink our sorrows away. May I ask you, what are you drinking other than Daniel Jones' tears?
It is Daniel Jones tears. It's Sam Adams. So not my favorite, but it was in the fridge.
Go ahead.
Before we go any
Yes.
further, happy belated birthday. Here's to you.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I don't know if you were let me take a sip. So I don't know if you were listening during the waiver wire rundown here, but we had They Took Our Jobs picking up Jake Elliott for $6, and I want to ask you, I know I made fun of you last year. Do you remember how much you spent on Cade York, the rookie Browns kicker who is no longer in the league?
No longer in the league. I think he might have even got cut before the end of last year. I'm not 100% on that. But I don't. It was definitely more than $1. So I would say
I actually looked it up because I
maybe
had some
$6.
extra time today. Actually, you spent $5 on him, which means that Alex is now the person to bid the most money on a kicker who will be cut next week.
Good job, Alex. At least you could take a victory from this week by beating me. So you're okay.
All right. So let's start from the beginning of this season, though.
Okay.
It was draft day, a very fun day. And you started out drafting 5 wide receivers in your first 6 picks. And my question to you, was that a strategy going in, or was just the way the board fell to you?
Well, I just want to be like Mike. I've always wanted to be like Mike ever since I was a little kid. And now Mike Jimerson is back-to-back champions, and last year he went wide receiver heavy early. So I thought I would just follow suit since none of the settings or scoring really changed drastically this year. So I thought it was a good strategy. I just happen to have really bad picks.
Okay. I don't think the strategy was bad at all. Actually, in years past, that's how I would play it. But excuse me, it didn't work out this year for me in that regard. But so after the draft was all over and you could look at your picks in total, how do you feel your draft went?
I think Yahoo was really close on their grading system. I think it was towards the bottom of the grading scale. On paper, maybe like a D plus, but in reality, maybe like a D minus.
So what was the grade that Yahoo actually presented to you?
So this is all hearsay because I didn't really see it, because right after the draft, I left to go back to the hotel room to take a shower before the party. And when I got back, everybody was laughing, and apparently I got an F. The only F ever given in Yahoo.
I'm not laughing at you.
It's
you,
okay. It's okay. I also laughed, and I was like, well, yeah, that sounds about right, the way I felt after that draft. So it was harsh. I did have Calvin Ridley, even though he shat the bed last week. He's a great player. And A.J. Brown, I guess, is washed up like all the other players on my team.
So also, someone looked at the projected record. It showed up as you being 0-14. I've never seen that before.
Oh, yeah. And I've already busted that. That's why I went to D minus and not F. So, whatever, Yahoo.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've already hey, for some solace there, those rankings, the worse the ranking you get, the more likely your team is going to be just fine. So
yeah.
Don't worry about the ranking.
That's why that's how I live my life. I set that bar really low. Like, there's not going to be any normal people out on the road today. And then when I get out on the road and somebody just lets me get in, I'm like, all right, one person. It's a score. It's a win for the day.
Well, you already had mentioned it, but you have already beaten the odds starting off the season when you start off 1-0 before last week, of course. But you got that first win right away, and it came in exciting fashion with a super comeback victory with a defense scoring a punt return touchdown in overtime.
Yeah.
Did you watch that game, or how'd you experience that comeback?
So I watched the first half of that game. I watched Aaron go down, and it was heartwarming and heartbreaking all at the same time. And I think halftime I might have shut it off. I have a really early wake up call, so it's hard to stay Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night. It's hard to stay up late because I know I have to get up early no matter what. So went to bed, woke up, saw your text, and I was like, oh, I guess I won. I didn't look at anything else because usually it takes me like 30 minutes, 45 minutes to actually look through my phone when I wake up, after I wake up in the morning. But I did see your text. And I was like, okay, that's good. That's exciting. I'm excited about it. Just check the score later. And then I saw everything and I was like, whoa. I normally don't like to draft AFC East players that are not on the Dolphins, or Dolphins for that matter, just because I don't want to root for them. So I've played the majority of my fantasy football career not doing that. This was the first year I was like, you know what? The Jets defense is supposed to be good. So average of 2 weeks, though, that sucks. It would have been nice to get more than 1 point last week. But I will take the victory, and I will be happy about it and go from there.
Yep. I was also going to say, so you're up against Alex. They took our jobs this week. You both of your teams have had up and down weeks. Alex, I think, was the lowest scoring week in week one. Yeah. And last week he rebounded. So you guys were pretty evenly matched, although you are the underdog going into this week's matchup.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have pulled Deshaun. I should have just went with the Yahoo points on that one because they were so close in multiple QB rankings for the week from multiple sources. they were only like two away, and they were like middle of the road, 15-18, 15-17, 15-16, and they'd flop. And I just thought Daniel Jones has found his rhythm, and it was just he was playing a bad defense that just didn't keep up or gave up because they're not supposed to win games. So it's one of those things. Yeah, you know what it's like? It's like Reggie. It's like Reggie benching Brandon Ayuk in week 1. That's what it was like.
I feel bad. Reggie has played his wrong lineup every week so far. He's had more points on his bench than in his starting lineup, and it's going to wear on him if it keeps that up.
Yeah, the sequel names are going to start flowing out sooner than later. But it's not like we can all have teams like Mac Daddy 6. Didn't he have like all his bench players but one show up? He could have had any combination and dominated last week. Was that Mac Daddy 6?
Yeah, he had like 8 or Mac Daddy 2s. Yeah, he had like 8 or 9 players with over 20 points, and he had 4 or 5 in his lineup and 4 or 5 on his bench. Yeah, he could have done no wrong. Could do no wrong last week.
Yeah. So, when we start playing like those guys, then I guess we're good competition. But until then, we are changing our names to bye week.
So obviously after the draft, you, like we were talking about before, you are very wide receiver heavy.
Yep.
Excuse me. And I'm very running back heavy. So I don't know if we can make a deal. I'm not looking for anything right now, but it looks like you and I are pretty much a potential match to make some trades throughout the season.
Yeah. And I'll do Mozart now for you. You already dropped Pitts. So, it was a nice package to try to get something. Who did you want out of that trade? Did you want Hopkins or who else did you ask for? Hopkins and
I asked for Hopkins and someone
and
towards
Zeke?
the bottom of your thing. It was because I was going to drop him.
Yeah. So
I was trying to get that done because I was going to drop Pitts no matter what. I was getting ready to drop Pitts. I was like, let me see if I
dropped Zeke and you dropped Pitts, so we could just trade Hopkins for Mozart now.
Oh yeah, maybe. I'm going to let Mostert go a couple more games, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
The thing with all these running back injuries, my guys are only going to get more valuable, assuming everything stays the same on my side.
Exactly. But you got to keep up those wins until they become valuable. It's no point in losing 5 straight, and then they become valuable, and you can't make it.
That's fair. Exactly. I was looking at that. I'm like, all right, if I can just tread water, and but I have to get a win. Luckily, knock on wood, playing against another team who's struggling like I am. So hopefully this will be the week. And McCaffrey, I don't know what he finished with, but he had a status quo games, and I'm already favored to win. So that's a good start anyway.
Right. Let's see. I got it pulled up here. Amazing Spidey, 20.40 for Christian McCaffrey. So now you're projected at 105.95, and Nick's projected at 89.18.
Yeah, he had a tough injury with Nick Chubb, so that's really hard for him there.
Yeah, he did pick up Kareem Hunt though, so he's probably going to get shafted if he plays him now, or he'll get shafted if he plays him later.
He's screwed now or screwed later. Your choice, bud.
Pretty much. But I think
I know it was a late night and a late request. I definitely. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was going to say I don't remember hearing the real reason why Hunt never signed. I just heard that he was holding out for money. So if if teams still think he has it, and he still think he has it, which I don't doubt he does. And it was just about getting paid, and now he could just show up for a season and get his $4 million. But also, if the incentives are like playing time, then he might not get the playing time, so the team doesn't have to pay him the incentives. So it's kind of like he'll do just good enough for the Browns to be decent, but not good enough for fantasy value.
Right. Well, we'll see how that goes. He wasn't that great for him last year, and he played a lot. He just didn't accumulate any of the stats, but we'll see how it goes for them.
Yeah, and I hope he does good because I need if Jones is going to do this for me, I'm going to put Watson back in next week. So I need Watson to show up.
Yeah, he definitely needs to play better. I know he can do it, but it just looks so stale. He looks stale out there.
Yeah. So what about your team? You got anything good going on in your team? Any positive vibes?
Well, I never know which players to play because I've got very equal third-tier running backs. I'm a little disappointed with Dameon Pierce. He was supposed to be a big-time player last week, and I sat Mostert for him because of the matchup, and that didn't work out. Jacobs is not scoring points, but he's getting all the carries, and I just know if they score any touchdowns, he's going to get a good chunk of them. So I'm going to wait a little longer on Jacobs. He's a valuable guy to trade, although he's down because of his start.
Right.
But I know he's got way better days ahead for sure compared to what he's done so far. Some of the other guys you're not sure about.
And I just saw you picked up Gus Edwards. Was that just to have a better player or a more upside player on your bench than who you dropped?
Well, I was torn. I've liked a lot of the running backs out there, but with the 10-team league, you can't get them all. And I'm already maxed out on running backs. Like I wanted to pick the reason my move was on that Kyle Pitts Mostert trade. I was going to drop Zeke and get Brian Robinson. Gotcha. And Katie picked him up, and he got 29 points last week. Yeah. So that was my planned move then, but that's gone. The Kendra, was it Miller for the Saints? Yeah. He's got some upside, but I'm not sure if he's going to play. And also with Kamara coming back, so I was looking to stash him, but the way this is going, there's because Justice Hill is banged up a little bit. Gus Edwards might be the man for a week or two, and when he gets carries, he's awesome. He just doesn't always get playing time. But
you gotta play him. With him. It's like one of those things. If you don't play him, that's the week that he's going to go, and then you'll be like, okay, I waited a week, I waited 2 weeks, I'm going to put him in, and then that's his down week, and Justice Hill has it. So it's like one of those things you got to pick it up and play him blind.
Right. Well, last year I picked him up and played him right before this first game back, and he had his best game of the year. And then after that, I kept riding him and didn't do it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got two good wide receivers, though. You won the Puka Nakua lottery there and got him on there. He could be a league winner. And then Nick Collins is a good, and they're going to be playing from behind. He's got good chemistry with Stroud. So
he's I don't know him that well, but he reminds me of Cortland Sutton from like 2 or 3 years ago, right before Sutton got hurt. He's not great, but he's big. Yeah, and he catches contested catches. So he doesn't get a lot of targets, but he gets 6 targets. He'll get 5 catches for 80 yards and a score.
Yeah, I almost picked up Hyatt, the wide receiver for the Giants, just for that reason, just because he had the 2 long passes at the end of the game last week, and I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe that's just him and Daniel Jones just airing it out. Do it 3 times, 2 times, get 40 plus yards, and you're good.
Yeah, I think how bad my receiving core was, I don't know how consistent they'll be, but I think the Collins Nakua could be a nice little pairing for a team that punted on receiver for sure.
Oh yeah. For not having you absolutely. You swung whatever grade you had up 2 grades because of that, I think. And if Mozart stays on, good, and you don't trade him, I mean that's a Miami team that's just going to be putting up yards, and they'll probably change it up a little bit every week, but he's going to have his shots in the red zone because the Dolphins stall out in the red zone. They don't have enough room to make those big, stunning plays to develop. So he might get a lot more red zone stuff. Yeah.
Another player that I have that I'm kind of liking his usage, but the offense isn't great, is Javonte Williams for Denver. He looks similar to me to Josh Jacobs, where he's getting all the work, and he's coming off the injury. So if he can get healthier as the year goes along, he's got upside in his second half of the season too as well. Yeah.
What does their schedule look like, though? What kind of defenses are they playing? Because they're like Russell Wilson just had a big.
I don't have it memorized. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't looked it up in a while, but I think they have a decently easy schedule on the whole.
Yeah. Well, your matchup looks good. You look like you're pretty much gonna handle that. I don't know about this. Nick's got Herbert running for Chicago and more in for Chicago, and Chicago looks like it's a dumpster fire right now after all the news. And then
they look like a team you want to target to play against.
Yeah, and he's got Cincinnati's defense, which I think the Rams will put up points on them. So you got a pretty good week win, I think, this week. I'm voting for you. Do we still do that in Yahoo?
Well, I appreciate it. I don't know. I haven't noticed that if it's there or not. To be honest with you, I'm not sure.
I don't think it is. Well, maybe not while the week started.
All right, my man. I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you stopping on by. Good luck this week. I know you had a rough start on Thursday, but there's still room to come back. So Good luck for you.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us for another edition of Wingman Fantasy Football, the League podcast. I want to thank Bernie for stopping by this week. As always, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, and of course, you can also get us on wingmanentertainment.net/WFF for all our Wingman Fantasy Football content. And also, I have a very big announcement.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
All right, guys, we are going to be having our very first ever live audience event on Saturday, October 21st at 5:30 p.m. at the Furleyhaus Oktoberfest Biergarten. We will be doing a live recording with an audience in hand. Of course, admission is free. And I think it'll be a little fun to get a little rah-rah in the background, see how that goes. It'll be a short episode in between our Wingman Poker League Championship Invitational and our Oktoberfest Beer Garden Party. So feel free to stop on by. Until then, may your glasses be full, your mugs stay frosty, and we will see you next time.